चक्षुरुन्मिलितमेन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नित्यानंदे। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी विचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री द्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे।
Sorry, Prabhu, I think it's 11.
11. Okay, no problem. Yeah, we do that. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 11. Yad yuyam pituradesham
Yad Yuyam Vitur Adesam
agrahishta mudanvita
Agrahishta Buddhanvita
athova ushati kirtir
Athova Usati Kirtir
lokananu bhavishyati.
Okam Anubhavishyati.
Yes, someone like to read?
Read, Prabhu.
Yes, please.
Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Because you have with pleasure accepted within your hearts the orders of your Father and have executed those orders faithfully, your attractive qualities will be celebrated all over the world. Purport. Since every living entity is a part and parcel of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he has small independence. Sometimes unintelligent men ask why one is put into a miserable condition even though everyone is under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because of his minute independence, the living entity can obey or disobey the orders of the Supreme Lord. If he obeys the Supreme Lord's orders, he becomes happy. If he does not, he becomes unhappy. Therefore, the living entity creates his own happiness or unhappiness. The Supreme Lord does not enforce these on anyone. The Supreme Lord praised the Prachetas because they all faithfully obeyed the orders of their father. The Lord therefore blessed the sons of King Prachina Barhisat because they had obeyed their father's orders. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Very interesting purport. So, because you have with pleasure accepted within your hearts the orders of your Father and have executed those orders very faithfully, your attractive qualities will be celebrated all over the world. So, according to scriptures, the spiritual master, the mother, the father, the king, the demigods, they are representatives of the Supreme Lord. Of course, they must also be following the rules and regulations of the scriptures, but even otherwise, they are the representatives of the Supreme. So, if a father instructs the son in the matters of religion and the son obeys those instructions, then the Supreme Lord is pleased. So, here the Prachetas obeyed the instructions of Prachina Varhi to go to the forest and purify themselves, and they worship the Supreme Lord. So, because of that, they were able to meet the personality of Lord Shiva, and they were able to worship and please the Supreme Lord. So, therefore, one should understand, that the Supreme Lord is pleased when there is order. The purpose of material life is to realize the Supreme. So the purpose of human life is to realize the Supreme. So Krishna says, Mameva Ansh Jivaloke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. If the living entities live in accordance with the laws of the nature, with the laws of the Supreme Lord, then they will be reunited with the Lord. The Lord is pleased. So Krishna is emphasizing in the Bhagavad Gita the importance of religion, the importance of dharma. So even in the stage where the living entity is under the spell of illusion, the living entity can purify himself by practicing the path of religion, by practicing dharma. So, one has to very carefully understand what is dharma. This is already done under the instructions of the spiritual master, under the instructions of spiritual master, under the instructions of the father, the authorities, the scriptures. By knowing these, if one follows this path, one will be gradually purified from this illusion and come to the platform of Krishna consciousness. And then the Lord is pleased. So even if one is contaminated with Maya, still if one follows the path of religion properly, one can go back to Godhead. One can satisfy the Lord. We see here that the Prachetas are not pure souls yet. But because they have followed the instructions of their father and Lord Shiva, the Lord is pleased with them. And therefore their path of liberation would be open. Hare Krishna. Yes, any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
We had one question on verse 10 translation, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
And there the Lord says, those who will offer me the prayers composed by Lord Shiva, both in the morning and in the evening, will be given benedictions by me. In this way, they can both fulfill their desires and attain good intelligence. So I think the question Maharaja Prabhu is asking is, fulfill their desires. What is their desire?
Ah. So here in the purport it is answered. See, yeah. To those who are constantly devoted and worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they can come to me. They can fulfill their desires and attain good intelligence. See, they can both fulfill their desires. See, the living entity is always having desires. Now, under the spell of Maya, these desires are illusory. When one is free from illusion, then the desires are pure. So, for example, Sudama Vipra, he did not want anything really. But still, he had some desire within his heart to be, out of his poverty-stricken situation. So Krishna fulfilled that desire. Pandavas had the desire to rule the world. So Krishna fulfilled that desire. But when Krishna fulfills a desire, like he says in the 9th chapter, Yogakshemam Mahamyaham, that I fulfill the desire of the devotee. So, see, Krishna will not make his devotee miserable in this world either. Because Krishna knows that the devotee's desires are always in alignment with the Lord's desires, with his own desires. So, I mean, everyone has some desire in this world. Like, we desire to eat some good food, to have some nice clothing, to have some shelter. If these desires are in such a manner that we are serving Krishna all the time, then Krishna will fulfill. So, if the desires are whimsical, Atmendriya Priti Vansha, only pure selfish desires, then Krishna may fulfill, Krishna may not fulfill. But Krishna wants to see his devotee happy. So if he sees that the desires are not an obstruction in bhakti, then Krishna will fulfill those. But if he sees that desires will become an obstruction, then Krishna will not fulfill.
Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Maybe then, what should be our take-home message? Like, one should desire or not desire, because sometimes desires come spontaneously because of our conditioning.
So we should purify our desires.
We see in the scriptures both type of devotees who had some desires, but always taking shelter of Krishna, and there are devotees who never kept any desires, any material desires. Whereas we see in the life of Pandavas also, like in Arjun's case, we can see that he had 3 wives. So definitely he had a desire. That's why he got married. And so how do we pursue these things?
See, Arjuna, when he took on those 3 wives, he was following the rules of dharma, which are prescribed for Kshatriyas. Like in case of Bhima also, he married Hidimba, who was a man-eater, not just ordinary woman, she was a man-eater. So, when devotees get married, then we have this marriage board which describes, marry this kind of girl, don't marry that kind of girl. So here, Bhima married Hidimba, and then he left her because that is how it was meant to be. She was a man-eater, she couldn't have lived in the society of Kshatriyas. But that's how it was. And his son, Hidimba, what was the name? Yeah, Hidimba. Hidimba also, like when he died, Krishna was happy that he was a demon. So how do we understand these things? So this is the will of the Lord. So because even after marrying Hidimba, Bhim did not deviate from his path. We see in our lives, sometimes devotees do things, Prabhu, but this is all right, everything is transcendental. They buy a house, they buy a car, they get married, and immediately leave devotional service. Like one of our godbrothers, he went into some business, that business did not work out, and then he eventually went into share trading and so many things, and he left devotion altogether. So these kind of these desires, they are unwanted, avanchita. So we leave devotional service. So Krishna will not fulfill these. Of course, we have to be of a standard where we are in communion with Krishna directly. If our desire to serve Krishna is not strong, Krishna will not look at us. Krishna will let us suffer at the hands of Maya. But if we have taken a serious vow to serve Krishna, and Krishna sees that there are some desires, Krishna will fulfill those. And at the same time, he'll ensure that we remain in bhakti. So the thing is that while we are executing our devotional service, we should try to curb these desires. We should try to minimize them. See, even if Krishna is fulfilling, it is not a nice thing. Why should we make Krishna our order carrier? We are here to serve him, not the other way around. Krishna is also looking for opportunities to serve us, but then will not attain prema. So therefore, as far as possible, we should try to avoid giving trouble to Krishna. But in this process, sometimes Krishna will find an opportunity to serve us. Actually, Krishna is serving us at every moment. Every moment. The very fact that we are breathing free in the air, that itself is Krishna's service to us. So Krishna is giving us every service. So we have to try to minimize accepting service from him. Whatever is done is done. We should try to serve him more and more and not create new desires. So therefore, while we are executing bhakti, we should try to purify ourselves more and more. Does that answer your question, Prabhu?
Thank you, Prabhuji. Yeah. So, voluntarily, we should not ask the benedictions of that unless we are in a really tough situation. Like Sudama, he was in a very tough situation, but he didn't ask for it. It is not asking is not just for ego, but that was his genuine emotion that he didn't want to make Krishna work for his need.
Yeah.
But then Krishna, seeing the sincerity, he satisfies the whatever is the minimum requirement.
Absolutely.
So ideally, a devotee should also try to come to that standard.
Yes.
But of course, we have to pass through the initial levels also, where we may ask for some help, but trying sincerely to follow the devotional practices. That is also very important.
Or as the scriptures say, akama sarva kamava, moksha kamudara dhihi tivrena bhakti yogena jayeta purushapa. Even if you have all the desires, request the Lord. Otherwise, you will go out and fulfill them anyway. You will request Maya Devi to serve. So, but when you ask Krishna, Krishna will purify you. Krishna is the father. If the child will not ask father, who will he ask? Okay, so please help us to understand. Yeah, yes, Prabhu.
Something in the chat.
Yeah, I was also reading the chat. So the question is, Okay. Please help to understand when in trouble, what should be the way if we pray are asking a favor, then and if we don't pray, we are lying to Krishna. So we should pray to Krishna, especially when we are in trouble. So if we are in a situation where our bhakti itself is getting stopped, then we should pray to Krishna. I mean, it is concerning us. This problem is being a hurdle in our path. That's why we are so worried. That's why we are so anxious. If we are self-realized, then we won't be anxious at all. We'll know that everything is happening by the will of the Lord. So when you are in anxiety, pray to Krishna. Why not? See, this instruction is not for very advanced souls, but for souls like us who are not advanced. Pandavas were praying to Krishna for protection. So what is our position? Why are we so egoistic that we don't want the Lord's shelter? But of course, we should avoid those situations where we get into trouble. It's not that tomorrow I take 100,000 rupees, I put them in stock market, and then the stock market starts crashing, and then I'm praying to Krishna. That will be nonsense. Or that I'm running after some girls, and then I'm praying to Krishna, please, Krishna, fulfill my desire. That is nonsense. We should pray to Krishna to keep our lives simple, simple and pure, so that we can worship him more and more, so that we have more time, more opportunity, till such time as we become completely liberated, completely free from this materialistic misconception. And then we are able to pray to him freely, like Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur was unconcerned. When a snake came to live in his cave, he was ready to leave that place. But Krishna inspired the snake to leave. When the Muslim guards came to beat him up, he accepted that as a will of Lord, and he was ready to be beaten up. Of course, Krishna protected him. When Maya Devi herself came to test him, Haridas Thakur was unconcerned. He thought, okay, so this is Maya, she has come to harass me. Okay, I will chant. So he took shelter. So, I mean, that's Haridas Thakur's mood. That is our objective. But if we are not in that position, we should pray. So, does that answer your question? Yes. Any other questions? Sorry. So we continue. Text 12. Bhavita Vishrutah Putro.
Pita Vishruto Putro.
Anavamo Brahmano Gune.
Anavamo Brahmano Gunai.
Ya etam Atma Viryena.
Ya etam Atmaviryena.
Trilokim Purishyati. Puraishyati.
Trilokam Praishyati.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat
Yes.
Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
May I read,
Yes.
Prabhuji?
Yes, please.
You will have a nice son who will be in no way inferior to Lord Brahma. Consequently, he will be very famous all over the universe. And the sons and grandsons generated by him will fulfill the three worlds purport. As explained in the next verse, the Prachetas will marry the daughter of great sage Kandu. It is suggested that the son's name will be Vishruta, and that he will glorify both his father and mother because of his good character. In fact, he would be greater than Lord Brahma. The great politician Chanakya said, if there is a good tree within a garden or forest, its flower will fill the forest with their fragrance. Similarly, a good son within the family make the whole family famous all over the world. Krishna took birth in the family of Yadus, and consequently, Yadu dynasty is the famous all over the world. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. So you see. So now I think the explanation of 10th verse is very clear. They can fulfill their desires and attain good intelligence. Now you see, this is very important point. So fulfill their desires and attain good intelligence. So they will fulfill their desires at the same time not be deviated from the path of dharma. So Prachetas would marry the daughter of Kandu and they will have a son. Now in usual cases, we have seen, like we have discussed so many times, Pumshama Striya Mithuni Bhavam Etam, that whenever a man meets a woman and there is sex desire, there is passion. And eventually there is a fall down. That's how the material world is running. The whole world is in a fallen condition. Men are crazy after women, women are crazy after men. And in reality, nobody is happy. They're all chasing illusory happiness and suffering more and more. So, but Krishna, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, that sex life which is not contrary to religion, I am that. So here, so you see, because they have taken a male form, they will be attracted to female form naturally. But that attraction can be controlled by following the process of dharma, vivaha yajna. So according to the Lord here, like we have seen a similar incident in the case of Rishi Kardama also. Kardama Muni also wanted to get married and have a family. The Lord arranged his marriage with Devahuti. And we saw the result, that Lord himself appeared as Kapila. And he gave the instructions in the matters of Sankhya Yoga and delivered Devahuti. So likewise, here also the Lord has made the arrangement already. See, desire is already there, but that desire is not deviating them from the path of Krishna consciousness. The desire in itself is not bad. Even in the spiritual world, there are male and female forms. Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai. I mean, will anyone be foolish enough to think that they are overcome by passion? No, they are eternal mother and father of Krishna. And as Srila Prabhupada explains, there is no sex life in spiritual world. Or Srila Prabhupada explains in one conversation, there is sex life in spiritual world, but no sexual intercourse. Because there is male and female form. But because attraction to Krishna is so intense that there is no mutual attraction between male and female. The male and female forms in the spiritual world exist only for the pleasure of Krishna. Because there is female form, Krishna can enjoy Madhurya Ras. Krishna can enjoy the rasa of having a mother. Krishna can enjoy the rasa of having an aunt, of having grandmother. He can enjoy all these rasas because there is female form. Because there is male form, he can enjoy the rasa of having a father, of having a brother, of having friends, of having uncles, even of having enemies. Kansa exists in spiritual world, but not in reality, but he's like an idea of Kansa exists in spiritual world. That is also a rasa of Krishna. So in this way, the male and female forms of the spiritual world interact with each other to give pleasure to Krishna. Because there is Yashoda Mai and Nanda Maharaj, Krishna has the pleasure of having mother and father. So if we imagine everyone is brahmachari in the spiritual world, then where will Krishna enjoy the rasa of having a mother, or of Rasa Leela? So you see this. So in the spiritual world, in Krishna, all the contradictions are resolved. Hare Krishna. Yes. So
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavata Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
Prabhuji, I have a question related to this. Like you said in this discussion that sometimes we'll sometimes think that to happen or which or
Oh, your voice is breaking.
happened, we may this was God with this desire, and this was
Hare Krishna.
and
Oh, we're not able to hear you.
we something may happen. We say it was Krishna. So it happened. some
Santosh Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Santosh Prabhu,
the different
Hare Krishna.
self-will and please explain this Prabhuji a little bit.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, we couldn't hear you. Your voice broke completely. Haribol, Santosh Prabhu? Okay, we'll take that question after the session. Once the internet is back. Okay. So, anyone else has any question?
My question.
Hare Krishna?
No,
Prabhuji, was my question, you heard my question? Was it audible to you? Because after that I could not heard anything.
No, Prabhu,
There was some
your voice
problem in
broke
my.
completely. We couldn't hear you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now I can, now I am audible, Prabhu?
Yes, you're audible now.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, my question is that God will and self will. Sometimes we want this to be happen, and maybe that happened, and we sometimes say it was Krishna's will, and that's why it is happened. And sometimes we it is we say ki it is our will. It is due to our desire it happened. So how to understand the God will and self will?
Rather, we should say it is our will and Krishna's sanction. Krishna, what like Krishna? Why would Krishna want to do anything here? We are like worms in the gutter. Our position, our desires are all insignificant. So we desire, I say, hey, I want to marry that girl. Krishna says no. And then no. Or Krishna says, okay, let it be. Then it is there. Then after 10 years, there is fighting, there is divorce. And then I say, oh, what happened? Why did Krishna do this? Well, Krishna didn't do it. Krishna said, surrender everything and come to me. Krishna didn't say you get married here, you make a house, you make a family. Krishna said, padam padam yat vipinam, this material world is full of danger. Now, if at the age of 80 I get a heart attack, and I say, why is Krishna giving me a heart attack? Well, Krishna was telling me not to take this body. This body is dangerous, it is horrible. Prabhu, if you go to the market, if I go to the market and I buy vegetables, you tell me, Prabhu, don't go there, these people are cheats. But I say, no, Prabhu, it looks nice. I go there and I get cheated. And then I come back and tell you, Prabhu, those people cheated me. So you will also say, Prabhu, I told you, I warned you that place is dangerous. They will cheat you. So that is the situation. When Krishna is trying to deliver a devotee, then Krishna's will is acting. Like in case of Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada was destined to be a millionaire. Srila Prabhupada was mentioning in one conversation that according to my horoscope, I was going to become something like Tata or Birla. Prabhupada had that capability, certainly. But Krishna had other desires. Krishna wanted Srila Prabhupada to become a great man, but not in the way his horoscope was. Krishna made him a great personality, but in a very different manner. Because Srila Prabhupada surrendered. So you see, we have a written destiny, but that destiny is under the sanction of Krishna. So if we are living mundane lifestyle, Krishna will sanction that destiny. And then we'll enjoy or suffer according to our horoscopes. But if we surrender to Krishna, then Krishna will change that. So sometimes you may be destined to be a very rich man, Krishna will make you poor. Or if you are destined to be a poor man, Krishna will make you rich. But that will be according to how you serve Krishna. If you become rich and you serve Krishna very nicely, Krishna will make you rich. But if you are supposed to become poor and serve Krishna nicely, Krishna will make you poor. So when you surrender to Krishna, your destiny changes. Then Krishna is taking control of you. In between, you will have desires. So Krishna would either sanction those desires or not sanction those. That's why he is Swarata. Because he knows what is the best for you. Yes. Does that answer your question, Prabhu?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Actually, so what I'm thinking, Prabhuji, it is depending upon a person's relationship with Krishna and depending upon a person's consciousness. In that he makes he understand himself that this is self will or God will. Because like sometimes when a very sincere sadhaka, he do not blame much, or every situation he connect with Krishna. If something wrong happens, also he thanks to Krishna. If something right happens, something good happens, that also he thanks to Krishna. So every emotion and every situation, if a Uttama Adhikari or a good sadhaka, he do not find any difficult that something which is happening not good, because he will realize that that every situation is on my life is controlled by Krishna, because I have fully surrendered to him. So whatever situation comes, it will help him to remember Krishna, become Krishna consciousness. If something good will happen, he will thanks to Krishna. If something bad will happen, he will remember Krishna, that this is due to my karma. Krishna has reduced and make me so little that it did not happen much. So that way our devotees should realize, whereas I am understanding. And other than that, material people who say that like this is Krishna's desire, or that is my desire, or sometimes we say that something good happen, jaise kehta hai acha hua, to if something good happen, then credit is up to living entity, take the credit because of me, and when something bad happens, he look up to the God. So a good Krishna consciousness sadhaka will take everything as Krishna's sanction and Krishna's mercy. And if the sadhana is a little lower and not strong, it will be weak, then one person will think self will or God will, why this, why that. I hope this is what my understanding is right, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu. See, Prabhu, just say, you live in Odisha, so you remember those village roads, when those town buses are driving through those village roads. There are holes. So the bus is sometimes driving left, sometimes right, sometimes he'll become very slow, sometimes he'll become very fast. But you trust the driver. You know the road is badly broken and the driver knows how to drive it the best. If he continues driving straight, the bus may overturn or he will get lots of bumps. So driver knows how to drive it safely through that road. So like that, Krishna knows that the path is dangerous in this material world. So his devotee, he arranges the life of his devotee in such a way that the devotee is peacefully able to execute his bhakti. Of course, there will always be trouble in this material world. So devotee will also suffer. But Krishna will minimize his suffering in such a manner that he is able to remember Krishna nicely. Sometimes, if it is useful, Krishna will let the devotee suffer. Sometimes, if he sees that it is not useful, Krishna will remove the suffering. But in any case, he will ensure. See, the whole purpose of suffering in this Maya is to remember Krishna. So if one is already remembering Krishna, so why should there be suffering? Suffering is there because we have forgotten Krishna. Krishna bhuli sei jeevan adi bahir mukha. Ataiva maya tare deya sansara dukkha. Because you are forgetting Krishna, you are suffering. If you start remembering Krishna, and so when you start remembering Krishna, what will happen? naturally your attraction to Maya will reduce. And you will not touch those things which are Maya. So naturally there will be less suffering. Why? It is
Prabhuji,
here. Huh. Yeah.
Prabhuji, one more thing. Sometimes I do not know. I realize like this that in my prayer I ask Krishna that give me the adequate amount of suffering, the amount of suffering which will never deviate me from your lotus feet. So give me that adequate amount of suffering. And many oftentimes I pray, and sometimes also I feel, oh, I'm praying to Krishna for suffering. Oh, but then I again understand, no, some suffering needed. In this way, if any suffering comes during my throughout the day, then I realize this is required for my bhakti. And sometimes any kind of comfort zone if I get, then I also feel sometimes no, this is I should feel insecure for this comfort zone, and because it may help Maya to forget our relationship with Krishna, and our sadhana may be deviated. So this way, if sometimes this emotion which is going on thinking of Krishna on our day-to-day suffering or trouble or anything which is happening emotionally or in practical physical way. So this way I can have more connection with Krishna.
Yes. So yeah, that's the point, Prabhu. Sometimes we just see the difficulties and we realize that Krishna doesn't want me to take this path. See, like for example, now in this world you have suffered so much. Now one may think, why is Krishna making me suffer so much? But another way of looking at it is this way, that at the end of this life, will I want to come back and take the same all over again? People desire. I've heard so many times. My own parents, my uncles, my aunties, oh, I would like to come back as your child or as this, as that. And I would tell them, why do you want to do that? Already there has been so much suffering. Why do you want to take another body in this world? That is Maya. See, big prime ministers, presidents, I want to serve this life, serve this nation, birth after birth. That is nonsense. Fools. One has to remember that there is no such thing as family, nation, or anything. Everything is Krishna, everything. Other than Krishna, all is illusion. So there is suffering for devotee, so that at the end of life, devotee will have no illusion left about this world. He will look back and think, no, I don't want this again. That is why there is suffering in the life of devotee. And sometimes there are people who may want to imitate the devotee. So when they see the devotee suffering, they would become careful. Then they would not want to, imitate him. That's why the guru gets so much suffering, so that cheap people cannot follow him. If someone tries to imitate the guru, he will suffer. He'll go to hell, he'll have to suffer hellish punishments. That's why one should not take guru cheaply, or one should not try to imitate the acharya. That's why Krishna gives sufferings to his devotees. That is also another perspective of looking at this.
Yes, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, also I was relating you just said a few minutes ago, just to question of, I think someone asked, I joined in that time. So you said that many people have left from devotional path. And I have, Prabhuji, seen, when I started Yogi Plate, the restaurant in Kharghar.
Yeah.
So I took a devotee whom I preached. He was my partner, and he left me. And now I can see materially he's prospering. But I preached to him, but somehow I feel sad that he has totally out of track, totally from devotional service. And somehow my intention for that business was purely, it was for my Krishna consciousness. I wanted to have a without onion garlic restaurant, and for doing good bhakti to have more efficiency in bhakti rather than job. I will get more time. So in that consciousness, I have put all my strength, investment, and ideas, everything. So somehow, even if I realize that although I failed, but still I thanks Krishna that I am in devotional track. And I've seen 2-3 other people whom I preached, and they are not in devotional track, and they are totally now eating meat and everything, which make me understand how merciful Krishna is to me. And although I had some financial loss and all things, maybe that is very much fine, but Krishna has protected me.
Yes. You see, this way only, Prabhu. One of my god brothers, so he was a good friend of mine also. So he fell in love with a mundane girl, meat eater in this kind. I don't know, I never saw that girl. Maybe according to him, she was very beautiful. So we warned him, this is not nice. But he said, oh, no, Prabhu, she's nice. She appreciates, she came to temple, she likes Hare Krishna. And now, that was maybe 16 years ago. More than 16, actually, it's 18 years ago now. You see how old I have become now. So 18 years ago, we were studying together in the university. Now, just last year, I happened to look up on the internet. His name popped up, so I looked through. And now he has become completely mundane. I don't know whether he even chants or anything. He's talking all mundane nonsense, how to make money, how to make a good lifestyle, how to be rich, how to be powerful. And he calls himself some marketing guru. So you see, marketing guru will have marketing reactions also from his marketing disciples. So you see, now it's not that he's some young boy. He's also an old man like me. So at this age, falling into such illusion. So you see, but Krishna, why does Krishna allow this to happen? Actually, because that's the desire of the living entity. The living entity doesn't want to serve Krishna. So Krishna will not force. You see, the father will slap his own son. He will not slap the neighbor's child. If his neighbor's child and his own child, if they are up to mischief, the father will slap his own son. Now one may think that father hates his son or what, but no, father loves his son, so he wants to correct him. He will not correct the neighbor's son. So Krishna will punish his own devotees only, because he knows he's a devotee. That's his objective. His objective is to attain Krishna. Therefore, Krishna appears to be very harsh on his devotees. But we should not mistake that. That is Krishna's love. The Guru will chastise his own disciples. He will not chastise the public in general.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you, Prabhuji. I'm sorry I took so much of time today's
Oh no, this
class.
is important. That's all right. These are important questions.
I could recollect one Bhakti Vinod Thakur's bhajan, Gopinath bhajan, that Apanara boli dandiya ek hona, Sri Charane Diyasthan. You may give punishment, trouble, pain into our life, but you give a place under shelter under lotus feet.
Yes, that should be the prayer to Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji is saying, हुई है वही जो राम रची राखा, कर्महीन पावत नहीं. These two philosophies, and what we're discussing just now, in Bhagavata's case, how does it connect together? Because they say what we say is my individual desire or Krishna desire. In fact, I have no individual desire. Even if I'm taking wrong desire or right desire, this was the wish of Krishna.
That happens at the level of pure devotion.
That's what we should be heading for.
Yeah, so Srila Prabhupada also says, make me dance like a puppet.
That's right.
So then, like Prabhupada says, you do only Krishna's desire. Then success belongs to Krishna, failure also belongs to Krishna. The duty is yours. See, that's why you see in a war, soldier, the foot soldier is never punished. Because foot soldier is only executing the order. He doesn't even know whether it is right or wrong. It's only the officer who will be punished, or the commander will be punished. So devotee also, for failure, there is no failure for devotee. He is executing Krishna's wish. It works out. Success is Krishna's. If it's a failure, failure also belongs to Krishna.
Precisely, that was my thinking. Instead of
Yes.
thinking so much, it is much better to leave everything to Krishna's mercy. Because you
Yes.
surrender to him, no? Unless you surrender him, you cannot come out of this misery.
Absolutely. That is the whole point.
Thank you. Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. I was just thinking this point, what you were raising, that there is no sex life in the spiritual world. So that this must be the fundamental reason why the living entity is stuck here, because he is not able to give up this desire to enjoy the sex life, or that he's not able to resign this idea that I'm not able, or I'm not enjoying the way from Krishna.
See,
Yeah.
sex desire is just one of the manifestations of lust. Atmendriya Priti Vansha. There are so many things we want to enjoy in this world, away from Krishna. That's why we are here. So sex life is just one of those things that has manifested. If you go to a vegetable market, you will find cauliflower, you will find cabbage, you will find potato also there. But you can't say, oh, vegetable market means only potatoes. No, it's just so many things. It is one of the items. So if one gives up the desire to enjoy oneself in aloof from Krishna, then one goes back to Godhead. On its own, sex life itself is not a disqualification from going back to Godhead. But there are so many other things. The lust, the desire to enjoy away from Krishna, the desire to enjoy what belongs to Krishna, that keeps us here. Yes. So, any other questions or comments? Okay, so we stop here then today. Thank you very much, everyone. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you,
Jai.
Prabhu. Pranam.